Hello, I'm Dr. Jeff Alexander from Ignite Your Life Programs. I was asked recently on my trip to Asia by one of the participants out there if I could describe what wealth was, and it was interesting because it automatically brought up a story that happened to me some years ago, and I'd like to share that with you, and that is the day I became a wealthy man. I was literally, a lot of wonderful things have happened in my life, but also some things that were major learning experiences in my life occurred as well. About 3 years ago, I was broke and I was broken. We were going through a frivolous lawsuit at the time with a disgruntled employee, and we lost everything. And this 40-year-old company of children's dentistry, we took a lot of pride that we helped a lot of underprivileged children who would never have been seen in the San Francisco Bay Area if it wasn't for our company. See, many years ago I was told I'd be out of business if I chose to treat this population because they were government funded. And my reply to that was, well, these kids got no place else to go. A single mom who can't pay her electric light bill has difficulty finding a dentist who specifically treats children, especially with the kind of treatment these children need. So I chose to do it anyhow. Lo and behold, 40 years went by, we didn't go down, and we opened up 7 clinics, and we've changed the lives of over 650,000 children and families since 1979. So we did well. However, just like many of you out there, the one minute you're doing well, the next minute everything can be taken away from you. And that literally happened 3 years ago when we had one employee who we had to terminate that sued us, and we lost everything, and we had to file for bankruptcy in my company. Now, this was the kind of bankruptcy that eventually we pulled out of. And it was a Chapter 11, which means that you can reorganize, and if it deems the court, they will stand beside you and you'll be able to prevail and get going. So 3 years of really a tough time was what we had to go through in order to survive and keep our company. The good news is that we prevailed, we're back in business, we're doing better than ever, we climbed out of bankruptcy, and it's all behind us. But let me tell you the turning point, the whole emphasis for this video. And about 2.5 years ago, 3 years ago, I was living in Washington, flying back and forth to save my company, which happened to be in the San Francisco Bay Area. And I, like many other people, I didn't always handle suffering and the fear in an appropriate way. I'm still on the same curriculum that many of you are on. I'm just getting better at it as I've gotten older. So the night before I flew down, I was waiting to find out, literally, when I flew into Oakland, California, where my office was, to the courtroom to see if I was going to have a company, to see if it was going to be liquidated. It was that close. We lost, like I say, we lost everything. So I was on the plane, I'm on Southwest Airlines, flying down to Oakland Airport, and I was in that place, and I don't know if you've ever been there, but I was really in despair. I was deep into my suffering, and I was doing it like a pro. I did not want to talk to anybody. I was just wallowing in this self-misery. And I always thought I had a good reason why. And then the speaker goes on, and it's the pilot. And the pilot says, for some reason, the Oakland airport is closed. We have to divert to the San Francisco airport. I hate the San Francisco airport. That meant that back, of course, those days, yellow cab was still around. I'm going to have to take a taxi from the San Francisco airport across the San Francisco Bay Bridge to my office in Oakland. Another reason, why I should be suffering. So they just kept getting worse and worse and worse, or so I thought. So one thing I have to tell you is the night before I went to sleep that night, I asked the infinite intelligence, the source, my inner being, God, whatever you want to call this wonderful energy, I asked for help. And I prayed and I said, please show me there's some evidence that we're going to be okay. I need some evidence. I don't need this woo-woo foo-foo stuff. I want some hardcore evidence, and I want it tomorrow. I was really that strong about it. Then, of course, I went to sleep. I woke up. I found myself on the plane. And here's the answer I get. We got to divert to San Francisco. Not what I was looking for. So I got even deeper in despair. I landed at the San Francisco airport. I go out to where all the taxi cabs are. And you know, when you're really in that place, you don't really feel like talking a lot. So I literally scanned all the drivers that were standing out by their cabs. And I tried to see if I could pick the one who looked like he wasn't going to talk too much. And I looked at this guy, and I thought that maybe he'd be the good choice. He was about this tall. He looked like he was from the Middle East somewhere. Maybe he doesn't speak English that well. That would work. So I called him over, and I get into the back seat, and he asked, where do you want to go? And I said, just head to Oakland, and I'll tell you when I get on the bridge. The minute we get in the car, this guy opens up and does not shut up. He started going and going and going, just talking so much. And I found myself, well, minimal eye contact. I'm going to look out the window, and I'll answer one-word answers. That's it. Then invariably, we're just getting on the Bay Bridge. Invariably, he asked me a question a lot of people ask, which is, what do you do for a living? Now, I can answer that question one of two ways. One, I could say, well, I'm a thought leader. I've been teaching for 40 years, and I help people get to places that they want to get to, and we conquer fear and all that. That's a long answer, and it also ignites a lot of conversation back, and I was not in the mood for that. Or, option two, I could say, I'm a dentist. That was the easy answer. A lot of people don't really talk about that much. So I said, I'm a dentist, and I continued to look out the window. Well, that's all he needed. This guy goes, oh my, you are a dentist. Oh, I gotta tell you about a dentist that we know that is the best dentist of the whole San Francisco Bay Area. And I said, really good, tell me about it. I figure if I keep him talking, I don't have to engage. And he goes, I have 3 little girls. I have an 8-year-old, I have a 4-year-old, and I have a 2-year-old. The 4-year-old was very, very sick, had a bad fever. We went to 3 different dental offices, and they wouldn't see her because the insurance was not adequate. It was Medicaid. It was government funded. And I did not know what to do. I felt so terrible because she was in so much pain. And then I found this office. Now my interest started to get piqued, and I found myself looking at him. And as he's driving, he goes, I found this office, and they not only saw her and took care of her, but they took care of my 8-year-old and the little one. All of them at one time. I gotta tell you, if I ever meet the man who started that office, boy, am I gonna thank him. And I leaned forward and I said, well, who is it? And he looked at the visor above where he was driving. He folded it down, and there was all these cards with a rubber band wrapped around it, and he pulled out this old faded card, and he went like this, and he handed it to me. And I looked at it, and it was my card with my name on it. He was talking about me and my office. And then I heard that voice. See, I had asked the night before for evidence, and I was holding it in my hand. And that feeling of despair completely shifted, and I was filled with a heat in my heart, and I started to well up in my eyes, and I started to look at this, and I said, thank you. And I looked at him, and I said, his name was Emil. Emil, I said, what would you do if I could have you meet this person? And he goes, oh, I would tell him, I would thank him, I want him to know what he's done. And I handed him back the card. I said, I want you to go to the address on this card. And he goes, oh, no, you don't have to meet him now. That's okay. I said, no, what you don't understand is that person is Dr. Jeff Alexander, and that's who I am. He's sitting in the back seat of your car. And he went, no way. I thought I was going to have to pull my driver's license out and give it to him. And he goes, no, you're Jeff Alexander? I said, yes. And just about that time, we got to the end of the Bay Bridge, and he pulled off on an exit. And he got out of the car, and the exit happened to be the exit that was going to my office. He got out of the car, and he says, would you please get out for a second? I got out of the car. And he walked around the car. He came up to me, and he goes, can I do something? I said, sure. And he put his arm around me. He was about this tall. And he held me for the longest of time. He hugged me. And then with a quivering voice, he sat back and he's still holding me pretty tight. And he said, "You have no idea what it is to be a father and have the feeling of not being able to take care of your babies." He goes, "You helped me be a great father that day. For the rest of your life," he goes, "you never have to pay for another taxi ride, ever, in the San Francisco Bay Area." And he said, "Thank you so much." And we were both in tears. And he got back into the car. I was standing on the front lawn of my office, and he waved goodbye to me. And I said goodbye. And I looked up, and I said, "Thank you for the evidence." You see, that was the day I became a wealthy man. In the depth of despair, you'd be surprised what shows up if you have the eyes to see and the heart that will guide you there. That's what wealth is. Join us at the next Ignite Your Life and learn what it is to be a wealthy human being. Thank you. Hi, if you really like that video, please subscribe. That way you can get notifications of future videos I'm excited to share with you. Also, feel free to comment below. I get a lot of the subject matter from you, so I can address the topics that you want to hear the most about. And if you want to know more about our live events, go to my website listed below. Looking forward to meeting you in person.